today's video is a bit different than what you guys are used to seeing on the channel. As you guys will have seen from the title and thumbnail, I'm actually saying goodbye to my John Mayer Signature Stratocaster, and today's video is going to be kind of just a tribute to this guitar, I guess, and kind of just one that I'll look back on and remember this guitar fondly. So yeah, sit back, relax, and enjoy today's video. If you've been following the channel for a while now, you'll have seen I've done a handful of videos that I've called the Gear Journey vlogs. Essentially, it's just a bit of a different look at, I guess my gear journey is kind of the thing. And part of everyone's gear journey is actually moving on from pieces of gear. And I'm definitely someone who buys and sells quite a lot of gear, especially over the past number of years. I've had a lot of cool stuff that I've also sold. You can't keep absolutely everything. And this time is one where it's kind of bittersweet in a way because I love this guitar. I mean, this was really my first true taste of a Strat that I ever owned when I bought it. But at the same time, it's sat in the wall. In all of my videos, you guys have seen it hanging up there, unplayed for months. Besides kind of right up until the point I decided to move on from this guitar, it had been probably a good 6 months, maybe longer, since I'd picked this guitar up. I've honestly just been playing the Silver Sky, my Mock Sand 2021 version. I adore that guitar a lot. It's just very comfortable to play, and it's kind of replaced this as my #1 guitar and the one that I play 99% of the time. So I made the decision to let my John Mayer Signature Stratocaster go, and I found someone who's part of the John Mayer community. Her name is Jen, and she's going to be taking ownership of this guitar very, very soon. So Jen, shout out to you, and I'm glad it's going to a good home and someone who's in the Mayer community, which makes me happy. I'll know where the guitar is and that it's going to a good home at least. But essentially today, I just wanted to chat about this guitar and kind of go down memory lane a little bit, showcase some sounds with it, playing just some of my favorite tunes for you guys. Not going to be perfect as par for the course on this channel, but just having some fun and getting some last clips for you guys of this guitar. So memory lane. I remember when I was in high school, and even junior high school, I was a Les Paul guy. I mean, I got my vintage 70s custom, the Sunburst one right there. I was a Les Paul into a Marshall guy. Didn't really care for pedals. I wanted all of my dirt to be from the amp and just be as loud and obnoxious as possible. Jimmy Page and Slash were like my two idols. And I remember walking into a guitar store locally here in Canada not long after I just watched Where the Light Is for the very first time. And that concert opened my eyes to what a guitar can sound like. And I went from watching clips of, Guns N' Roses to clips of John Mayer performances. And this is about 2011, I want to say. I'd have been in grade 11 at the time. And I remember walking into a guitar store, and they had a Sunburst John Mayer Signature Strat on the wall. And I grabbed it and went in the demo room and played it and immediately fell in love with the neck, fell in love with the guitar and the sound. But the finish to me, I was kind of like, when I Googled the specs what was available at the time, and I saw they had an Olympic white one, that to me was like, okay, that's the one I want. And I remember, I think I played another Sunburst example not too long after that, and again was like, yeah, no, I really love the guitar. So I placed an order for the Olympic white one, and I believe I got the guitar in maybe the fall of 2012. I remember it was November, but you guys will see the one picture of me in the store the day it came in, and I remember getting it at Long McQuaid, and my dad had driven me down there and was like, all right, let's go home and play it. And I was like, no, I want to try it in the guitar store. So the picture is what he took of me with that guitar at least 10 years ago now, if not longer. I just fell in love with the guitar immediately. Like again, the necks on these things, if you've ever gotten to play them, are just fantastic. So yeah, so anyways, I picked up the guitar, brought it home, fell in love with it. I don't remember what the first song was that I played on it. Might have been Good Love Is on the Way, like the riff. Might have been Under the Bridge from the Peppers. But I don't think I could play it that well, if I'm being honest. Back then, still don't play it that great. But yeah, I brought it home, fell in love with it, and I remember thinking to myself too, because John Mayer was the person who had really opened my eyes to, you know, I just remember watching the trio set for the first time on Where the Light Is and being like, a guitar can sound like that? Like thinking that to myself. And it's funny enough, you know, I tried a lot of different strats, and the Mayer one, truly, you know, unbiased, felt the best to me, and what, you know, someone who was just working summers while I was in high school could afford and save up all my money for. So anyways, I bought this guitar, and the rest was kind of history. It was my number one guitar for pretty much 10 years until really the Silver Skies came out, and I started to get into that. Like, you guys, if you follow me on the channel, especially the John Mayer Gear Lounge, you'll know I owned a Nebula briefly, but then I sold that one and then bought my Mock Sand off of Tommy, good friend of the channel, a great guy, wicked guy. And slowly the Mayer Sig kind of got phased out. And it kind of got in my head in the group chat with a bunch of friends of mine being like, hey, you know, should I maybe move on from the Mayer Sig that I never play anymore and look into eventually maybe going down the custom shop Strat route, or just getting something else in another piece of gear? Because it's hard to, you know, you can't buy everything and keep everything. You got to move some stuff around in order to find new things. And as we kind of fall in and out of love with pieces of gear, you know, you sell stuff and you move on from it. So that has been where my head has been at for quite a while now, if I'm being honest. I mean, the sentimental value of this thing has kind of outweighed, you know, the utility value, I guess, of it, to me at least right now, where it's, you know, I have my main S-style guitar in the Silver Sky. But more about this guitar. What do I really love about the John Mayer Signature Stratocaster? I mean, for one, the pickups, even though they're not the most Mayer-ish, which is kind of ironic because it's in a Mayer Signature guitar. They're really designed after the Texas Specials that were underwound in his Stevie Ray Vaughan Signature Strat, which I have one hanging up on the wall behind me. But they do still sound really good for the Mayer thing. I mean, I really love the middle position on this guitar a ton. I think that's my favorite position on this guitar, actually, in terms of pickups. The middle, I've always really enjoyed, especially for that John Mayer trio kind of sound, even getting into, you know, some more of the modern tones with the 64 Strat. I've always really liked the middle pickup in this guitar. That position sound I've always really enjoyed, and I think that is one of the, you know, personally, to me at least, that's one of the best sounds out of this guitar. Middle pickup position, and just, you know, it sounds fantastic. I've already mentioned the neck as well. Back in the, you know, late 2000s, early 2010s, it was one of the best necks for the money on a Fender Strat, at least in my opinion, that you could have ever have gotten. They did a fantastic job on it, that's for sure. But yeah, like I said, kind of ended up deciding that it was time to move on from this thing. And I've never personally been someone who really has felt the need for multiple Strat guitars, at least tuned in standard tuning. I've always kind of just gravitated towards one, whether it's this or the Silver Sky. I've always kind of just been happy to play the one, and I've never owned something at, you know, like custom shop level. But I think that'd be something to start experimenting with and diving down into, as well as, not that owning a bunch of signature gear is necessarily a bad thing in my mind. I think it's a really great way to, you know, figure out your own sound in a way by going after the sound of people who inspire you. But I kind of also want to find my Strat, if that makes sense. I want to kind of find my own spec. And I remember Tommy had asked me in our group chat, what is Justin's dream Strat spec? And I had a really hard time even answering that because I haven't ever given it that much thought. You know, Charcoal Frost Metallic, Sonic Blue, Fiesta Red, okay. Sonic Blue with a Tort Guard would be fantastic. Or do I want Sonic Blue? Would I want Daphne Blue? Or go Lake Placid Blue? Sorry, Jake. You know, it's something that I don't even know. So I think for a while I'm just going to wait and see what's out there and kind of think about what's my own personal dream Strat spec. And then experiment with pickups. Do I want to throw some raw analysis in there? Do I want to try and find some Abbeys? You know, experiment that way and find out what my dream Strat spec is. And a whole part of that, or this kind of thing that I mentioned in my latest live stream that I did, as well as, you know, I want to kind of dive more into not figuring out my sound, but buying more of the gear that I like and playing the guitar more instead of just talking about gear more. And really, you know, not falling in love with the hobby again and playing again, but just, you know, really kind of diving in a lot more into that aspect and stuff like that. Because on the channel too, I don't think a lot of you guys know this, the Saw Brock board is gone. I blew that thing up before the new year, actually. And for today's video, actually, may as well, good segue to talking about this now. This video is going to be long and just me rambling, so I apologize. But if you're still watching, thank you. I just got a Polytune 3 Keeley modded blues driver, TS10, Klon, and Aquapus Mark 1, just kind of in front of me. And those are the 4 pedals, really, that you guys are going to be hearing, just some clips throughout, just having some fun on this guitar for one of the last times until I actually ship it out. But yeah, I've just been kind of experimenting. I want to build my own board for different songs that either I want to jam out with friends of mine or just different sounds I want to create and experiment with as well. So I bought the Thorpe Deep Ogden the other day, chorus pedal. It's what Chris Buck is using right now. And Where Did You Go from January Came Close from Cardinal Black's latest album. It's one of my favorite, you know, songs that includes chorus in the longest time.
Gets used specifically on a Cardinal Black track called Where'd You Go, which is pretty kind of Ryan Adamsy, I guess, in its kind of style. Bit thrashy, bit kind of... that kind of thing. As I feel you, how you will me, I can read that smile when I miss you, and I need you, but you're not around. I'm wondering, where do you go now?
And I wanted to find a different chorus pedal that I never tried before, and Thorpe makes great stuff, and I bought it, and I absolutely love that pedal. And it's stuff like that where, you know, I felt like I've been the focus has definitely been away from just experimenting with different sounds that I want to like, where I was like, no, I got to build the sob rock board and, get that going and just stuff like that, where my focus has been elsewhere instead of what sounds am I just liking and what pedals am I just really curious about. I've been kind of going away from that, I guess. And I do have one piece of gear that is supposed to arrive in less than 48 hours from the time of me making this video. It's going to just make all of that a lot easier. Especially the getting out and playing with friends of mine. I know a few friends that I went to high school with and just buddies of mine who are drummers and bass players and stuff like that, and that's something, I think that'll help improving my playing as well, is actually getting out and playing with people more. So I think that'll help, and that's the biggest hint I'm going to give you guys, because I've hauled both of the amps actually behind me out of my house once. For a very special individual. You guys might know what I'm talking about. I haven't really talked about that on the channel either, but it was fun and worth it for what it was, but it's definitely not something I'd want to do very regularly. So that's as big of a hint as you guys are going to get for right now as to what's coming up on the channel that you guys will see eventually and hear at some point sooner or later. But yeah, anyways, this has just been rambling, kind of just a tribute video, I guess, to this guitar. It's something that's been, again, my number one for about 10 years and stuff, but going to a very, very good home. And, I'm sure I still might get to play it again one day. Again, going to an individual in the John Mayer gear community, which is fantastic. Definitely wouldn't want to just sell it to someone who, would thrash it. I remember my first car, even when I got rid of that, I always thought to myself, I hope I just don't see it wrapped around a tree somewhere, Obviously, to see the person get hurt either, but, you just don't want to see that. And a good friend of mine actually sold his first car, and a week later, a kid had curbed it into a fire hydrant, and the car was a write-off. The back end of it was just totaled. And it was just a sad thing where he was like, I put so much love and energy into that thing. He had, kept it in immaculate condition, tuned it and everything, and then a week after he sold it, it was destroyed. So, it's just one of those things where I just would hate to see the guitar go to someone who's just going to thrash it and just abuse it. Yeah, not that there's anything wrong with that, do what you want with your gear and stuff, but I don't know. I do still, I do still really like this guitar, and I want to see it have a good life and live a long and happy life. So I know it's going to be loved, and it's going to be well taken care of, which makes me very, very happy. Closing thoughts and remarks, I guess. I don't really have any. This guitar was fantastic, and I'm going to miss it, but I'm looking forward to diving deeper into my own sound. What else do I like? And not that the channel's ever going to go away from that go into that direction necessarily, because I really like the whole journalism aspect and the knowledge and educational aspect of, keeping you guys up to date with, for Shantae's and John Mayer's gear. I really like doing that, and, it's fun to share that information with you guys, but behind the scenes more is going to be a lot more of me, figuring out the gear that I want to try out and just going a bit more of that direction, which is going to be really fun. And I'll make some videos on that. Not a ton, but you guys will get a glimpse and stuff. And yeah, anyways, if you guys watched this whole video, thank you. Thanks for sticking with me. I've got some really great support over the almost 2 years that I've been on YouTube making videos consistently. And it's been really great. And I just wanted to talk to you guys for a little bit, share in the fact that, I've sold some gear before, and it's never really, I don't know, it's never really been quite like this, where it's been like, I can honestly say I will still truly miss this guitar, even though, like I said, I've barely played it in the past while, but there is that sentimental aspect of it for sure that I will miss. And I'll always be thankful, and always, I'll always really love a good John Mayer Sig. That's for sure. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. Again, just a different thing and just me, really more or less doing this in one take. I'm just trying to give my thoughts and, just speak about this guitar so I can, one day look back on this video and remember the Mayer Sig that I had for 10 years. The very first guitar that I learned my love of Strat sounds, really dove into the whole iconic guitar heroes of Strat players, at least, really developed my admiration for John Mayer and John Frusciante. Those two, my two favorite Strat players of all time, and really, put some miles in terms of my guitar progression and journey on this thing. So thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a comment down below if you've ever let go of a piece of gear that you knew was the right decision, but it still didn't make it any easier. If you have any similar stories, leave a comment down below and I'll be sure to read them all. Be interesting. I'm sure some of you guys at least know how I'm feeling in this moment, but yeah, Jen, again, enjoy your Fender John Mayer Signature Stratocaster. Again, just very happy it's going to a good home, and it's going to be well loved for sure. And I hope you enjoy this guitar as much as I have over the, again, 10, 11, 12 years that I've owned it. Until the next time, you guys, thank you again so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you've made it this far, subscribe. I mean, what are you doing if you aren't subscribed to the channel and you made it through me rambling about a guitar for who knows how long? Subscribe if you haven't already. And take care, you guys. Thanks so much again for watching. We'll see you on the next one.
Anyway, go ahead and click the subscribe button if you like what you see.